Well, good evening, Dirtfish Rally friends. It may well be good morning wherever you are in the world, but here in Japan, it's very much good evening. It is the end of day one here at Rally Japan. Once again, I just have to mention and thank very much our sponsors for this weekend. It is Gino WRC Invest. The link is just above me here. Click that, go through to the website, have a look at Gino WRC Invest. Where are we, folks? Well, we're in the magnificent Toyota Stadium. David, quick quiz for you. How many seats?
43,281.
48,000. Now, did you also know, David, it has a retractable roof? Did you know that?
Yeah, yes.
How long does it take to retract that roof?
1 minute 37 seconds.
50 minutes. David's doing well with the quiz. 50 minutes to fully retract.
What year was the Rugby World Cup here?
Well, I can't remember that. It was built in 2001 for the 2002 Football World Cup. It didn't quite happen,
2019.
There we go. There we go. David knows everything about rugby. He really does. But the big question is, does he know everything about what's happened today in Japan? Well, I have to tell you, folks, it has been one of the most dramatic days I can remember in a very long time. And David, really the drama started in the opening stage this morning, didn't it? Danny Sordo, goodness me.
Absolutely. We drove that stage yesterday afternoon, didn't we, Colin? The stage name is
Izigami's Tunnel.
Exactly, and it was incredible, and that's why we decided. Ordinarily, we would have done a piece to camera or a piece about the preview to the first day before the first stage, but we said no. We must go to the end of that first stage of the day.
Anticipated drama.
But it was bizarre, wasn't it? Because actually the drama wasn't caused by the stage itself.
No, it wasn't.
It was caused by some sort of failing within the Hyundai. But yeah, I mean...
Well, I tell you what, we don't know an awful lot about that just now. Let's hear very quickly, though, from Danny himself, who we spoke to at the side of his burnt-out high Hyundai. Let's hear from Danny Sordo.
Small fire in the rear. I trying to take it out, but I think under the battery or somewhere he was like a big one already, like burning from some meters before, and I couldn't stop with the small extinguisher and the car, and also the next car that came in. I asked for the extinguisher, but it was already, I think, the carbon when they start to have fire is very difficult. I just trying all what I can do it for stop the fire, but it was possible. So I'm so sorry for the team to lose the car.
Question marks. Again, okay, this is the first serious fire involving these Rally 1 cars. Lessons to be learned, and the fact that we're learning lots of big lessons and no one's been injured is really important, but there are lessons to be learned from that this morning.
There are lessons to be learned, Cole, and we've got to... The trouble is, part of the problem now, we've lost the car, so the ability to investigate is negated by the fact that there's really not a lot left of the car, but, throughout the kind of the history of the development of these cars, that we have seen fires, and it's something that we absolutely, the FIA safety is paramount in everything that they do. So the FIA will be on this; they'll be investigating it. It's easy to say it should have been done. We should be wise before the event, not after the event. There are lessons to be learned, and I'm sure they will learn them. But yeah, it's heartbreaking, isn't it, to see a completely gutted car. And Sordo said it, after we'd done the interview with him. We said, "Do you want to lift back to service?" No, I'm waiting here. Essentially, we've lost our baby here. It is a very, very difficult time.
And it wasn't just Danny Sordo who struggled during this morning's loop. Craig Breen had an off, David, that's ended his rally. I think that's 5 or 6 now in the last 8 rallies. He's had, he's made mistakes that have ended his rally.
There's nothing you can say, is there? He came here, and we said it yesterday in the preview. 2 drivers needed a result here, Elvin Evans and Craig Breen. Whatever Craig's future holds, he needed a result here. He goes into the off-season now, the winter season, on the back of another difficult, miserable result. That can't... If you're looking to Monte Carlo as your first event next year, you want to go into Monte off the back of a great result in the final round of the previous year. All throughout Christmas period, he's going to be thinking about what he did in Japan.
And what he could have done and how much better it could have been. And you're quite right. If anything, the pressure was off for this event.
It was completely.
Last event, you go out, have some fun, enjoy yourself.
The team, it's a scaled down team, only 2 cars, no Malcolm Wilson here, just get there, just get through the event, take some more real good experience. New event, anything can happen. He needed... There's nothing you can say.
Not an awful lot you can say. We'll just keep our fingers crossed that Craig Breen next season manages to put the demons that are, I think, clearly tormenting him this year. There's something going on.
The trouble is, as you struggle with one event, you then push harder, you hold on tighter,
absolutely. Yeah.
and tighter and tighter and tighter, and that's where he is now. You know, he's just must
like,
drive harder,
yeah.
and it's just not working, and
Really
somehow he needs to get away. But you know, we've said this for the last 6 months. He needs to get away, relax, forget everything. He's tried everything. I don't know just how you rebuild from this one.
So a massively dramatic opening morning. In terms of the stage as well, do you know what? Really interesting out there. It was a beautiful day. It really was. Clear blue skies, temperatures around about 20 degrees. Stunning scenery that the stages ran through, but very challenging, David.
Yeah.
Leaves caused problems.
Yeah.
If you remember back British Rail a few years ago in the UK.
Wrong leaves.
Wrong leaves on the railway line.
Was that wrong snow or something?
Oh, something like that.
Yeah.
Was it wrong leaves on the stages today?
There were just too many of them, and I don't know, Cole. We said this yesterday, and we almost laughed about it. About when we were driving on our recce, we drove through, and there were a huge amount of leaves around, and we were like, oh, could this? And we sort of dismissed it, but of course, you know, it does limit traction, doesn't it? It limits adhesion between.
It does, but
tyre
not
and
just
road.
that. What Thierry Neuville said this afternoon is that the leaves, there are so many leaves now across the roads, in places it's difficult to actually pick the exact line because you can't see the corner, you can't see the apex because of the number of leaves.
I mean, the nature of this event, we know that it goes through the forest, doesn't it? You know, there are so many stages that are actually under the trees. It's clearly been an issue.
Now, David mentioned there 2 drivers needed a good rally here. Craig Breen isn't having a good one, as had another mare, unfortunately. The other driver that David mentioned was Elfyn Evans. He has had a super day out there and leads the event by 3 seconds. This is what Elfyn had to tell us a little earlier on.
Happy to make a step forward from Spain, where we didn't have such a good rally last time out on tarmac. At least now we managed to find some speed at least.
And I suppose the encouraging thing is, you know, you're in the lead and you have a little lead to defend. You've not been 100% comfortable today, so there is still more to come if you get the setup right for tomorrow.
Yeah, I think it's always difficult with a car here because, you know, you have so many different type of terrain, surfaces, character of road. So it's always going to be a compromise. You know, you're never going to have the perfect car everywhere. So it's difficult to start playing too much because you're worried to give away time in places where the car is clearly working. You know, so it's difficult to know how much to change, and of course, it's not easy from a driving and pace notes and all the rest of it to read the grip of the road neither.
Really, David, fantastic. It's exactly what Elfyn needed. So good to see him really back where he was last year and the year before.
It's not surprising, O'Connell. You know, we've seen Elfyn when you come to make good notes and when you come to make fresh set of pace notes, he's good at that. You know, they're all good at that. But new events are somewhere that he's done really well in the past. And, of course, he really excels on tarmac.
He really does excel on tarmac. It's been a super day, a controlled day from Elfyn Evans. I suspect there's more to come tomorrow from Evans. There really is. There's more performance from him and that car, I think, David. But, we mentioned at the start of the show, our partners for this weekend, Gino, WRC Invest. Gino, WRC Invest. The only place to buy a world rally car. Run by enthusiasts like Alessandro Gino and Andrea Adamo. So David, it is a slender lead. 3 seconds on tarmac is not so slender, but it is still a slender lead. 3 seconds over Thierry Neuville. Neuville has struggled a little bit out there today, particularly this morning. Again, understeer. The car, he's not found that balance. Very difficult to find the balance in the Hyundai, we know that. But Neuville has again shown his quality, his battling qualities.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and it's difficult, you know, when you've got a car that hasn't got the balance in it, a bit of understeer, there are so many corners here. And if you've got just a smidge of understeer at every corner, it's going to cost you, isn't it? And yeah, for me, Thierry's driven really well to get around those issues and around those problems and still be absolutely right there in the fight.
And you know what? It is Toyota's rally, this one. We're in the Toyota Stadium in Toyota City in Japan. Neuville is the man who looks like he could yet upset that Toyota result here. And
they are desperate to, aren't they? You know, they've lost Drivers' Championship, Manufacturers' Championship. The only thing they can do is a bit of sort of flying the ointment here for Toyota's home event.
Yeah, I mean, everybody was fighting a bit with their car out there, such as us. But it's all about a compromise on those conditions. I mean, we came here without testing. We didn't know really what to expect. The profile on the stages are quite challenging and quite different as well. And that makes it somehow a compromise where we have to fight with.
The third of our drivers who is very much in the loop this weekend, still very much in the loop in that fight at the front, is Kalle Rovanperä. 5.1 seconds. I nearly forgot there, didn't I? 5.1 seconds off the lead. Rovanperä doesn't like these conditions, but you never know.
Yesterday, or in like the week before this event, I almost sort of talked a little bit about the fact that we've seen Kalle in events where he's not completely comfortable. He doesn't take that ultimate risk immediately. He plays himself in. He just feels where he is, and I think that's what the sort of day he's had today. But also, it's twisty tarmac, and he's a Finn. You know, they like the absolute super quick stages where you can really stretch your legs. I think, you know, we'll see some more from Kalle. You know, he will play himself in. He'll get more feeling, more confidence with the car, and he'll be there.
I think you're right. But you know, this you talk about the issue with Finns on tarmac and particular types of tarmac. Rovanperä recognised there might be a deficiency in his armoury very early on in his career. Don't forget, he went to Italy, didn't he, for a season? He spent in Italy doing the Irish tarmac, the Italian tarmac championship. So this, by the way, is what Kalle Rovanperä told us a little earlier.
It's not too bad because we are fairly close, so yeah, I can be somewhat happy. Of course, I was not so happy with the car and the driving on the same time. I couldn't really do what I wanted.
What were the issues with the car that you weren't happy with?
I think just the balance overall. We had too much understeer. We couldn't really get the car so sharp as we normally want.
And with your driving, you said you weren't happy with your own driving. What was wrong with that out there?
Yeah, fairly it's okay. But of course, if you're not happy with the car, you cannot drive the way you want, and then you're not happy.
Today was the biggest day.
Yep.
Obviously,
a shortened biggest day,
but I think it will still be the biggest day.
Yeah.
It will be,
Yeah,
even with what we lost today.
Depends who you ask, though, because some of the WRC2 runners
had nothing.
By lunchtime, had still done nothing.
Genuinely, had done 0 kilometres.
So let's just explain that, Cole. Let's just explain that. So, starting with last night, Tosh Yare off and got the stage stopped.
2.
So 2 this morning was obviously Sordo's fire.
3.
3 was because of the fire, they had to cancel that because they were obviously needing still emergency services in the area, blah, blah, blah. 4 was Breen off, and then something that we're still investigating, a car on the stage, a civilian car coming in the wrong direction. Very scary. We'll come back to you with more news on that.
Baffling, a very strange one indeed. David, top 3. Who's your money on? Who's your money on tomorrow? You know, we've got the fly in the ointment, Thierry Neuville buzzing away. Rovanperä, Evans tomorrow.
One of the big disappointments, we haven't mentioned him yet, Sébastien Ogier. Somebody that, you know, coming here on the back of a win in Spain.
Yeah.
I was really looking forward to seeing what Ogier could do, and Ogier was buzzing when he came here simply because I think if you can hear the cheering, it is because they've spotted Colin, obviously.
Mexican wave, David's ready.
Hasn't really taken off, has it? Right. He loves the country, loves the culture, loves everything, and there was a real spring in his step, wasn't there, when he came here? Of course, he got a new co-driver.
My highlight of the day, David, the fans. It's been wonderful to see, it really has. Japanese rally fans are amongst the most passionate anywhere in the world.
Certainly the most imaginative.
They are the most imaginative, the most creative, that is for sure.
Even seen dinosaurs, haven't we, Colin?
Well, I made friends with one.
Certainly did.
I did. I make friends with everyone wherever I go in the world. Once again, folks, don't forget to click the link. David, what is the link for?
Gino WRC Invest.
It really is for Gino WRC Invest.
The only place to go if you want to buy a World Rally car, Rally 2 car, or just to look and see some absolute fever.
Beauties, some absolute beauties on that site. And there will be some beauties, myself and David, here for you all tomorrow. If it is half as dramatic as today has been, we are in for a proper treat on day 2 of Rally Japan. So don't forget, the place to be for the drama at Rally Japan is
dirtfish.com.